everybody. I'm Cassidy, one of your Indianapolis Colts cheerleaders, and you're watching the Bleav in Colts podcast.
Welcome back to Bleav in Colts. I'm Lawrence Owen with my guys Jerraud Powers and Rodney McLeod, and we are going to be talking about this week in the NFL and some crazy stuff. Every week, crazy things happen in the NFL. In all honesty, who would have thought that, games like the Lions defeating the Green Bay Packers, watching, that was a wild game. The Jets beat the Bills, ladies and gentlemen. Who would have thought of that this time last year? That just wasn't something that could possibly drop in your mind. Last night, the Ravens just made the Saints look incompetent, and Patrick Mahomes on Sunday Night Football became Patrick Mahomes when he absolutely needed to, and kind of wore out that overtime win against the Tennessee Titans. I just want to say basketball is back. BetOnline remains your number one source for all your sports betting needs this season. You'll always find the latest odds, team matchup info, player news, and game trends at BetOnline as your continued source for all sports wagering information. BetOnline features live betting, free contests, and giveaways all season long. Always the fastest and easiest way to bet on your favorite sports and events, whether it's NFL, NBA, NHL, MMA, tennis, boxing, even golf. Head to betonline.ag to receive your 50% welcome bonus with your first deposit. Make sure to use promo code Bleav, that's BLEAV, to receive your rewards. BetOnline, where the game starts. Jerraud, what was the biggest story from this past week that you would like to talk about?
I think the biggest story just overall, man, I think it's some bad football been playing right now in the NFL. When you watch these games, like for instance, you watch Tampa play, the other night, it just looked bad. Like almost, when I say bad, it just don't look like guys are executing at the level, at the high level that we are accustomed to seeing. And I'm specifically talking about offenses. When you look around the league, it's a lot of low scoring type games. And I don't remember the last time that I can remember a season like this to where every week it's, 17-9, 14-6, 20-14 type games. And I don't know if the defenses around the league are just getting better, and maybe that's what it is. But I think the biggest shocker to me over these past weeks of games was, I was going to go with Tampa, but I think it was that Jets beating the Bills and the way that they beat the Bills. I think right now we need to put a little bit more respect when it comes to, the Jets football team. Their defense are playing lights out this year. Offense been kind of up and down. Elijah Moore not getting the ball. The quarterback, 1 week he looks bad, the next week he looks good. You could tell they got a lot of young guys in some prominent positions that don't know nothing else but just playing football. But to see those guys go out there after the last season and what people was kind of predicting the Jets to be, and now they're a problem to deal with, I think they might be the biggest story, in football, just as far as just the turnaround. So salute to the head coach and the things that they got going. But the Jets, man, going forward, look like they got something, something special might be brewing.
Absolutely. Rodney, what's your biggest?
Yeah. I mean, I think, I go back to that game as well. Just looking, didn't obviously catch the game, but saw highlights and was very shocked to see who ended out coming out with that victory. And you got to tip your hat to the New York Jets, man. Like you said, that defense, 2 interceptions. I think they held Josh Allen to maybe like 64, QB rating. And I mean, you don't see that too often, and you haven't. That offense has been lights out this year, very hard to stop, and a division opponent coming up big in that division, man. You have Miami. I think they're 6-3. You have now the Jets 6-3. Buffalo, 6-2.
Yep.
And then Patriots. Clearly we just played them. We helped them get another win as they start to now trend in the right direction as well, 4-4. So it's going to come down to the wire, I think, when you look at that AFC East division. But I don't know who's going
Yeah.
to raise that flag at the end right now. The way it's looking, it's very competitive, and I mean that's what you want to see. And you got to tip your hat to the coach, man, and shifting and changing that culture. Some new additions, some young guys stepping up, free agency signings, man, are big, and they're playing right now, and they're playing confident ball.
Absolutely. And you just talking about it earlier, Jerraud, about what's going on with the offenses. I mean, you just had the last two Super Bowl winners duke it out, and 29 points was scored the entire game, right? I mean, wow.
Yeah, and watching that game, like just watching the ending of it, it didn't even seem like Sean McVay was confident in his offense. And we're used to seeing Sean McVay as like the leader of the new generation of offensive coaches in the league. That's how they kind of labeled Sean McVay when he was coming up or whatnot. And then you're on the road, got the ball in your hands to seal it. And it was almost like, we'll just let our defense go out there and get the victory, forgetting that Tom Brady is on the other side. But then you flip to the other side, and Tom Brady looked awful the entire game until the last drive of the game. And like I say, winning cures everything. So Tom Brady looks awful that entire game and end up winning it. And the first thing the media says is, he looked 10 years younger. I'm like, no, he didn't. He looked 10 years older that entire game, because I'm telling you, it was just I don't know, watching that game, I was like, man, we got Matt Stafford, who looks like, he's uncomfortable right now. You got Tom on the other side. He looks frustrated, uncomfortable, cussing everybody out on the sideline, throwing stuff, and all those type of things. And it's just like, man, it's the NFL younger generation is starting to shift to push the older guys out, or whatever the case may be, because you look across the league, man, and everybody that has an older style quarterback offense is struggling right now.
Hey, I got a question. So, like, how do you feel? Because going back to this Rams game, I saw a quote, I guess or a tweet that Ramsey had put out talking about the defense should not have had to go back on the field. Simple, he said after the loss, we shouldn't come to the sideline after a big stop, and our coaches tell us we need y'all again. Defense as a defensive player, you know what I'm saying? Like, how do you feel about, you know what I'm saying, his comments right there?
Well, Jalen's always been outspoken. Everybody knows that Jalen's been outspoken his whole career. But now, Rodney, you can attest to this. That type of conversation you might have on the sideline with somebody like, man, what the hell's?
Yeah, for sure.
Or whatnot, like why we got to go, like what happened? Because you'll come off the field, Lawrence, and like you're with your coaches, you're going over stuff, and then all of a sudden you hear, hey, defense, we need you. And you're looking like, man, what the hell happened? We just got off the field during a 2-minute drive and gave our offense the ball. But I don't like Jalen speaking out like that to the media, because when you do walk back in that locker room, if you got the right guys in that locker room, somebody's going to check them, or somebody's going to, ask about it, or you might have to have a players only style meeting just to discuss, to get, some feelings off your chest. But I hate that he did do that. But with his resume, Super Bowl champs, like you got a veteran team and all that, maybe he's doing it to spark a fire, because, they haven't been playing well as a team this year. And maybe he's trying to do it to get people fired up to play better. But I do Bleav he's right. Like after a big stop like that on the road, and you were in a 2-minute situation, you thinking that you got the ball back to your offense, game is over. And offense don't get the job done. You go back, now you got to go back out on the field. But as a defensive player, you got to go back out there and do your job at the end of the day. It's not like that he got back on the field and had a short field or whatever the case may be. They had to drive the ball like 80 yards, 75 yards to even get in position. And the only thing they were doing was throwing, deep, curls.
Yeah, and outs and deep outs. Yeah.
Yeah. So I do Bleav when the defense got back on the field, they didn't have the right mentality, to go out there and stop. And that's ultimately the reason why they lost. They went out there with I don't want to say lackadaisical, but a soft mentality, thinking that the game was over. And the game's never over, like Rodney said, until that clock hits 0.
Thank you for watching Bleav in Colts with myself, Jerraud Powers, and Rodney McLeod. Please don't forget to smash that like button. Hit subscribe if you're not subscribed. Tag that notification bell so that you are notified next time we upload a video, because there's a minimum 3 a week, every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. If there's other ways that you would like to support this channel, check out the description of this video for ways you can check out the merch shop, follow us on social media, and then, of course, a donation link. All support is welcome. Let's get back to the show.
That's what I feel like. I really think it's just a mindset for me as a defensive player. Like, yeah, we know how it goes as fans. Like, you definitely feel some type of way. Like, all right, like, we got this. But at the end of the day, man, you got to do your job. You got to do your job. You have to shift that mindset, go back out there and get the job done. And you can't deflect and put it on the offense, you know, and now at the end of the game when you didn't necessarily get it done, like you gotta accept that and say, look, yeah, we're not necessarily the offensive O right now. And I think that's what they're accustomed to. They're used to Sean McVay, Matt Stafford, Cooper Kupp, you know, saving the day at times. And that margin of error, that time is not now. And right now they're asking on the big dogs across the way, such as Ramsey, AD, and the rest of the crew to, man, hold it down. I mean, you know how it works. Sometimes offense have great days. Sometimes it's a defensive type of day. So it might be a special teams, but whoever number is called, you got to step up and you got to go ahead and get the job done. So I didn't like how he just deflected and didn't take the onus and put it on us as a defense. Like, we have to, the opportunity to win the game was in our hands. It was our time to shine, and we, you know, they failed to do that.
Man, I can't stand when a player, I mean, when players throw other players, especially your own teammates, under the bus. I think that's awful. I mean, literally every Colts defender in the game yesterday against the Patriots could have just thrown a fit after the block punt, and they have to go out there on the 3-yard line and defend a 3-yard drive for a touchdown. I mean, that's a situation, but you don't see any Colts players out there going, nah, man, our special teams and offense just didn't get it done and put us on the ropes here. You don't do that. You just don't do that. Not to your own guys. That destroys the locker room, your morale, you know, as a unit, as a team, you know. And I mean, look, I've never played in the NFL, but I've played football. You know, I've played plenty of team sports, and you got to support your guys, even if they're not having a good day, because guess what? You don't have a good day every day either. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Especially in the public setting. It's, you got to keep it tight. You got to keep it tight, man.
Yeah, I didn't like him doing it, but he might have did it intentionally to set a fire. Like I said, they've been underperforming, man, you know, all year. And maybe he did it, you know, to kind of set a fire. Maybe they needed, you know, some of these conversations to be had and for people to get some stuff off their chest. And they're probably having a team meeting today about it or whatnot. But you just never know what something like that might affect the team going forward, though.
Yeah, absolutely. Ramsey's definitely a disruptor. You know, he has it may have been strategic.
On and off the field. So we talked about low scoring games this week and you know, all year really, right? I mean, Green Bay Lions, another one of those games that, you know, was incredibly low scoring. The Lions have had a good offense all year. Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers known for having good offense. But this year, you know, obviously something's wrong, but 24 points scored in that game. You know, you got all these games with really low scoring. Do you put it as defensive players, both of you guys? What are your thoughts on the offense going from the last few years having really high games to this year just going, what's going on with the scoring? Is that pride in defense, or do you think this is more of an offensive issue throughout the league?
Well, me personally, I mean, all the rules are set up for the offense. I mean, I want to say that the defenses across the league are just playing great ball, but I mean, Rodney will tell you it's hard to play defense in the NFL. You can't do nothing. Like, you can't touch guys. You can't, like, everything is set up for the offense. I honestly think it's just bad execution by offenses all across the board. I mean, when you watch Green Bay play, we've never seen Aaron Rodgers make some of the mistakes that he's making, you know, some of the throws that he's making. We're talking about Detroit being the 32 ranked defense in the league. Like normally that's a field day for Aaron Rodgers, and he go out there and throws 3 red zone interceptions. First time he ever did something like that in his career, they said.
Wow.
And then you watch Tampa. We've never seen Tom, struggle like this. And we're talking about teams, well, besides Green Bay, we're talking about Tom who has weapons, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Leonard Fournette. We're not talking about teams that, don't necessarily got weapons. So I just think it's more so of execution, on the offensive side of the ball. But, maybe, defenses across the league is just, playing good ball. And, I love it. I love the close scoring games because it shows you exactly who you are as a team, when you're in these tight knit games, and, it forces certain guys have to step up to the plate and either make a play or not make a play for their team. So I enjoy watching, the low scoring games because, the mistakes become very visible when it's like that. But I don't know, man. I don't know what it is, but normally when we have situations like this, Lawrence, to where it's just low scoring all year, expect some rules to be changed again in the offseason at those coaches meetings for sure.
That does seem to be the trend. I would say, like, when things don't work in favor of the offense, boy, they're quick to throw in a new rule.
Like, hey, we can't sack the quarterback no more. Can't tell. Like, they'll do something to make it to where the offense is going to have to score points.
After the elbow injury to Josh Allen, I expect that you can't touch the quarterback when his arm is in motion.
Man.
Lawrence, when I saw that happen, I said they are probably going to do something about that.
Yep.
As far as if a quarterback is in a throwing motion, you can't swipe at his arm or you can't do something. I'll bet you this offseason that be talked about for sure. Don't let Josh Allen miss a couple games because his elbow is sore. Oh my gosh!
They already got their T-shirts made for the Super Bowl already. They can't take it back. They done invested too much.
No question.
Wow. So the Indianapolis Colts are the team. They fired their head coach just yesterday. We got a lot of teams out there that are not performing to expectations this season. Who do we think might be the next person on the chopping block in the NFL? I got 2 guys.
I was about to say I got two.
I got 2 names. Now, Rodney, you're welcome to throw your opinion in here if you want to, but
all I'm gonna say is, a team who is surprisingly underperforming is a team that we're playing this week, and to be honest, and you can say the same thing for us as well, right? And this is going to be a big game for both teams to figure out, how to either one of us get back on track. So this is a huge game with a lot of implications, and keeps another team alive pretty much, right? At their hopes at a chance at the playoffs. So it's a big game, not only because it's the next one, but because of how the season's gone for the both of us. But I am very surprised every week when I look at the Raiders and see the talent that they have, looking at film, obviously, like they're a talented offense. And, it's mind blowing to me that, their record is the way it is. But you can't necessarily look at the record, faceless opponent. You just have to go in there and treat them as such, and understand they have the capabilities to win games. They have the talent to do so, and demand our respect regardless of record. So it's going to be a great challenge. But, yeah, I would say the Raiders, McDaniels, that is a surprise with the caliber players they have.
Rodney, who are your teams you think might be looking at some changes soon?
I was going to say Josh McDaniels. I think definitely, got some eyes on him as far as in the front office management, and still a lot of football to be played, but, they haven't lived up to their expectations at all. And my second one, I think Cliff Kingsbury. I think that him in Arizona, Kyler Murray, Steve Keim, that whole regime, it might have, played itself out, just off of not necessarily not meeting the expectations, just off of everything that's been going on with the Cardinals. And, like this past week, we saw Kyler and, D-Hop arguing on the sideline. It seemed like every week is something going on of that manner. The week before with the Vikings, I think everybody saw Patrick Peterson, voice his displeasure about the Cardinals and how his situation was handled and over there and everything. So I think those are the two coaches that's kind of, got some eyes on. And if things don't happen in their favor as far as, team winning games and, making a big push towards the end of the year, might not happen during the season, but I think in the off season, definitely could be the two coaches that lose their job.
See, I agree with the McDaniels thing. Everybody's talked about the Raiders here on the show, so that's got to say something. But at the same time, I can't remember if it was the owner or the GM that just earlier in the week said that his McDaniels' job's not on the line. But we've heard that from owners and GMs before. I'm just saying. So
he is a first year head coach, so there's some grace there a little bit for sure. But
it had some unfortunate situations with his team too this past offseason with some key players. So,
well, what about LaFleur? Do you think that LaFleur might have a little bit of a looking over his shoulder with the way Green Bay has been looking, or is everybody
I think you get rid of Aaron Rodgers before you get rid of LaFleur.
Okay.
That's just my take. I know Aaron Rodgers has been the key to their success, since he's been at the helm of the quarterback position. But when you look at that team and, and the situations that Aaron and kind of, I guess, put them in the past, 2 off seasons or whatnot, I think Matt LaFleur has done a good job with what he could possibly do. You look at his record as a head coach is phenomenal. And this is the first year they've kind of had a bad year or whatnot. But I think, with Aaron Rodgers kind of voicing his opinion in the offseason about him wanting out and, all those things, I think you lose Aaron Rodgers before you lose the head coach over there.
Okay. Well, that will be it for this episode of Bleav in Colts, going over this past week in the NFL. And guys, don't forget, smash that like button and subscribe on YouTube, download wherever you're listening to your audio podcast. Make sure you check out Rodney McLeod, Jerraud Powers, and myself on social media. Give us a follow. And until next time, this is Bleav in Colts, brought to you by Bet Online. Go Colts.
Do you believe?